Okay, pop quiz. Who in the audience is old enough to remember the Miami Vice TV show with Crockett and Tubbs? Some of you might recognize this holster. It's called the Miami Classic. Crockett wore a Bren 10 in a Galco product. Back then, Galco was called the original Jackass Leather Company, and they were based out of Chicago. And that show really put them on the map. A lot of people started buying their holsters, and now they've got a huge facility in Arizona with a lot of giant sewing machines that could probably punch through a car hood. So like everybody else that watched the show, everybody had to run out and get a shoulder holster. I went to Thunder Ranch, took Defensive Handgun 101, and the instructor, Clint Smith, mentioned that the fastest reload is actually a second gun. So I purchased my first two Miami Classics before I started working at OpticsPlanet and paid full boat for them. And after I got here, I bought this rig. And as it comes for about 150 bucks, it comes with one holster, and it comes with a double magazine pouch on the offside. With full magazines in here, it'll kind of balance out the weight. I decided that the best way to balance out that weight, and also based on what Clint Smith told me, I decided to buy the S3H shoulder holster component for my left hand on the right side, and that balances out the weight really nicely because I have two identical guns. One thing you really have to be aware of with any type of single or double shoulder holster rig is that it's not as fast as a draw from a belt holster. Second in speed is probably an inside the pant holster. This is a little bit further down the line. When you draw this, you're going to be covering a 180-degree arc because the muzzle is pointing at the people behind you. Also, they're not the best for really long barrel guns like a full-size 1911 5-inch because, at least on my body, that's going to produce a telltale lump on your jacket. But just remember, with this, you're going to be describing a 180-degree arc, so you have to be really careful of your finger on the trigger and the direction of your muzzle. About the only time I wear this holster if I'm not locking the doors, dropping the shades, and looking at myself in the mirror in my double shoulder holster rig is in the wintertime if I'm traveling and I'm carrying legally. Normally I've got on a big sweater that kind of hangs down a little bit and an inside the pant holster. I've got to deal with pulling things up and drawing. So this is nice to where I can put this on. I can throw a big jacket on over it. Normally the jacket will hang correctly to where as long as I don't lean forward and let things dangle, I'm in good shape. But properly adjusted, when this comes from the factory, you've got quite a bit of extra adjustment here. What I did was, and please do this too because it'll solve the problem you having to buy another harness for this, but these are called Chicago screws. You can take them apart and adjust it so you have it comfortable for yourself and will draw well. What I like to tell people to do is adjust it, and before you cut off that extra, wear it for a few days because the leather's going to stretch a little bit, and also you're going to be real excited. So you think this holster harness is going to fit really well, and it really doesn't after a couple days. So once you do get it adjusted, you can take a quarter and lay on this strap, take a nice sharp knife, and you can make a beautiful cut on this to where it looks like it came from the factory and you don't have some kind of jagged line that looks like you did it with your teeth. Again, it's kind of a limited use holster, limited purpose holster, because obviously you're not going to run down to the beach in this. It is kind of handy concealment wise if you are wearing a coat. If you're at the supermarket and you reach up on a top shelf for a can of beans or something and your jacket rides up, you can expose a traditional belt holster or an inside the pant holster. So they do have their place. I wouldn't advise against it, but I like it. It's a nice holster and lets me carry both my Glocks.